So, we just watched Mortal Kombat 2021. Oh boy. Yeah, this was something. I don't do movie reviews, so this will be something new. We are going to split this video into a spoiler-free section and a spoiler section. Todd, throw the times up on the screen. Yeah, here you go. Alright, let's do this. Dog, I don't even know where to begin with this shit. Let's just say what we liked about it first. Alright, the stuff with Scorpion and Subzero were the only good parts. And unfortunately, there's only two moments where this is the case. One at the beginning and one at the very end. Kano is a pretty fun character. I mean, he's a crazy Australian. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, he was funny. I liked him. What did you like, Todd? I'm trying to think of one you guys haven't already said or isn't a spoiler. I liked some of the costumes and some of the characters. They did a good job of matching to the games, but that's not true for all of them. You struggled there, didn't you? Yeah. Alright, I'm just gonna get into butchering this fucking film now. Yeah, go off, man. Okay, to keep this spoiler free, this movie wiped its ass with a lot of the source material for Mortal Kombat. Again, I can't really go into it without spoiling shit, so I have to be a little vague as fuck for now. Iconic characters get killed off without any backstory or much in terms of screen time. This is going to be a problem if this film ever gets a sequel because they're going to have to butcher some of these other characters too because of how they handled the characters in this film. Yeah, you're not wrong. They messed up the one thing I was looking forward to. The gore. First they use that shitty CGI blood that don't even look right, and most of the gore effects is CGI, and the worst part is it's noticeably bad CGI, like it takes you out of it. Yeah, it really just takes away a lot of the impact of the blood and the gore when it just looks fake as shit. And it's inconsistent too because there are moments where they use actual, like, good practical blood effects on actors' faces and stuff, especially during the MMA fight in the opening of the movie. So why don't they just use practical consistently throughout? I have an answer to this. It's because it's easier to use CGI blood, plus they can delete it out of the film for the foreign markets where blood is more of a no-no than it would be here in the States. And they don't have to, reshoot everything without the blood effects and all that, and it's easier to do multiple takes. They can just put the blood in post. But the end result just doesn't look good. Now, I know y'all are probably sitting there like, dude, there are plenty of movies with the CGI blood. But it's Mortal fucking Kombat. This game is one of the reasons the ESRB is a thing. That is one of the main selling points, is the blood and gore. Yeah, considering you can do this to your opponent in the games,
fatality. Scorpion wins. Flawless victory.
not nailing the blood and gore effects is a goddamn cardinal sin in my books. Yeah, they also spent way too much time explaining why characters have powers, and it's like a huge part of the film. Like, you didn't need to explain any of that shit. You could have just focused on the characters making the story more interesting or having more fights or something. I was actually bored through most of this movie. The opening scene was good and interesting, though I know Edgy has some things to say about it. The fight scene between Sub-Zero and Scorpion at the end was really good, but that sort of gets ruined by one of the biggest problems with the film. Fucking Cole. The character made exclusively for this movie, Cole, is the most boring fucking character I've seen in a long time. And it's frankly insulting that they felt the need to make up a character like this to be the main character when literally anyone else from the wide pool of characters would have worked. I wasn't my boy Lui Kang in the main character, or Kung Lao, or Johnny Cage, because apparently it would have been racist or some shit for a white dude to be the MC when a lot of Mortal Kombat stuff is Asian influence, if that one stupid ass comment from someone working on this film is to be believed. That's fucking retarded. Oh, I know. If they wanted to have a newcomer to all the Mortal Kombat lore, as in a character who has no idea about Earthrealm or Outworld or Shang Tsung or Mortal Kombat, the tournament and all that stuff, so you could justify other characters having to explain shit to them and therefore explaining it to us, the audience, it would make sense to go with Johnny Cage, because it's believable that he wouldn't know any of this shit because he's a Hollywood actor. Because it wouldn't make sense to explain this shit to Liu Kang or Kung Lao, because it's like, y'all should already know this. Y'all are already entrenched in this shit. Yeah, that was incredibly stupid. And the problem is Cole has such a big role in the story to a point where he is overshadowing the characters from the source material. He really feels like a self-insert, and I've heard that might actually be the case, but I don't know how true that is. You know, one thing I just noticed rewatching some scenes for this, a lot of the locations are really bland, especially if you compare them to like the arenas in the games. Like the final battle of the movie is in an iced over building, like there's so much cool shit they could have drawn from, but they don't. That's because 90% of this movie takes place on Earth. Earthrealm is probably the least interesting place in the Mortal Kombat universe. They really should have set more of the movie in Outworld or Edenia or just anywhere, but they can't because of the other decisions they made in this movie. Yeah, that pretty much sums up my biggest problem. You have plenty of source material to draw from. Hell, you can even limit yourselves to Mortal Kombat 9, 10, and 11, even though 11 and 10 stories are fucking terrible too. But still, you could have drawn from that, and it probably would have been an improvement. But instead, you end up just butchering stuff to a point where it actually comes off as a little bit insulting, because it's just like, motherfucker, you could have pulled all this other shit. Yeah, huge letdown. Whoever cut the first trailer we saw for this movie, they knew what they were doing because they literally showed you the best bits in the trailer. And I know that's kind of the point of a trailer, but no. Like, the trailer gave off a way better impression than the actual movie, because you think, oh, this is gonna be balls to the wall action, and it's gonna be awesome, right? It's not. It's not. With Cole in the mix, this movie comes off like a bad Mortal Kombat fan fiction that got turned into a movie, and I can't tell you exactly why without getting into spoilers. This barely even feels like Mortal Kombat at points. It doesn't have enough over-the-top action scenes for it to feel like Mortal Kombat, and it just feels really generic, with the exception of the Subzero fight at the end. And like I think we said before, iconic characters are just wasted in a lot of areas. It teases a sequel, which I don't think will work very well, because it has to build off the foundation of this movie. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, this movie just wasn't fun. There's so many points where Edgy had to stop the movie because I was checking out. Dog, we were all checking out at points. Yeah, I would not recommend this movie. The vast majority of it is a snooze fest until Scorpion shows up. And sadly, as cool as that was, it is not enough to carry this movie. The movie is only 10 minutes shy of 2 hours, and boy does it feel like 2.5 hours with how slow it is. Yeah, it felt long and paradoxically not long enough. Like the fights towards the end where the characters are one-on-one with each other is wrapped up in like a few minutes. Like the thing you came to see was all these characters duking it out doesn't even last that long. All right, we gotta go in the spoiler section now because I can't keep doing vague explanations. Yeah, me neither. All right, final warning. If you're gonna watch this movie, go watch it now. Come back at this point because we going into full spoiler territory. Alright, let's start from the beginning. The opening is actually decent with showing Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion, with his family. He goes to get more water, then the Lin Kuei show up and murder his whole family. Hanzo arrives and sees them frozen to death, then gets attacked by ninjas, beats the shit out of them, and we already have our first problem. What? The goddamn blood effects. Now, I just want to be clear here, because I see this all the time people do movie reviews. They'll say something is shit because it's CGI. CGI is a tool and you have to know when and how to use it and how to make the visual effects team's job easier. By, you know, shooting reference shots, getting reference of like the lighting in the scene, all that kind of stuff, right? That all being said, this is some really fake looking blood. It's just off to me. I think it has to do with the lighting in places. Like the way it reacts to light doesn't match the environment it's in a lot of times. Yeah, looking at like just pausing parts of the movie, I think you're right. It also doesn't blend in with the rest of the live action footage. If you're gonna have someone get slashed and the blood gushing, actually have fake blood on the character, like the character that's in the path of the blood spray. So at least it blends a little bit more and maybe it will be less noticeable. Like in this sequence, Hanzo was straight up slicing motherfuckers' arms off and slitting their throats, and he doesn't get a drop of blood on him. I gotta say, despite that, the opening fight scene is really cool, and the actor, Hiroyuki Sanada, I hope I said his last name right, is perfect for the role of Scorpion. I don't usually get hyped when I hear someone is cast as a character, but this was an excellent choice. Like, that man can act. He barely says anything during the whole opening sequence, but you can just feel his, like, rage and pain of seeing his family getting killed. Dude can act. Dude can fucking act. They did a good job. You ain't wrong. And while we're at it, the actor for Subzero does a good job too. And the fight scene in the beginning here is, despite what I said, actually pretty good. But there is one problem in this first fight between Scorpion and Subzero that I wish I could show you, but I can't really capture it because HBO Max does this thing where it knows if you're trying to screen capture or take a screenshot or something. So I can't really show it. But there's this part that bugs me. There's a part where Subzero slams Scorpion's head on this big ass boulder and there's a shitload of CGI blood coming out of him, right? But in the very next shot that happens less than a second later, all of the blood is gone on the rock and Scorpion's face isn't bloody or damaged or anything. I also noticed that in points in this fight, there are moments where Sub-Zero gets slashed by Hanzo's kunai and there's no damage at all. Like there's no torn up fabric or not even a blood stain. But man, these first 10 minutes are good despite all that. Yeah, you're not wrong, but sadly it goes downhill from this. Raiden ends up showing up and picks up Hanzo's surviving baby daughter, and then the movie begins good and proper. With Cole. I'm just gonna say it, this character fucking sucks. Throughout 90% of this movie, he just gets his ass kicked and is completely useless. And they have this stupid Chosen One prophecy where a descendant of Hasashi is supposed to save Earthrealm. Cole is that, by the way, if you couldn't figure that out. So now we have a Chosen One plotline here. I'm not against Chosen One prophecy things and stories, but to do it with someone who isn't even from the source material just feels insulting. It also doesn't help that he spends most of the movie getting his ass beat. Like, the cage match actually has good blood effects, which makes it even worse that they still use the shitty CGI blood. After we get introduced to Cole, we see Shang Tsung and Sub-Zero. Shang Tsung knows about this prophecy thing and is worried about it, and decides, and comes up with the idea that, hey, they can't beat us in a Mortal Kombat tournament if they don't have any fighters. Unfortunately, we have another problem with this. The costumes. Sub-Zero's costume is so dark, I almost thought it was completely black. Like, I couldn't tell it was blue in some of these shots. He looks like he's wearing all black, which is Noob Saibot's color. Shang Tsung is also wearing a near black outfit when pretty much every version of him in the games, he's wearing red and black and sometimes gold. Like, what the fuck is going on? They also make Sub-Zero just straight up evil, like he's working with Shang Tsung, complete with an evil, slightly demonic sounding voice. And the fact that we are now centuries into the, well, it's been centuries since he killed Hanzo. So that implies that he's either undead or something's been done to keep him alive. Let's just say that. They don't really explain it. And it feels like they were trying to fuse Sub-Zero and Noob Saibot together, like have them like trying to reference both at the same time, and that doesn't really work because the whole point is Noob shows up after Scorpion has killed Sub-Zero and he comes back with shadow powers and it's not the same. He has this dark outfit on and it doesn't even look like Sub-Zero, because the color isn't there. He looks like Noob, and I just don't like it. Me neither. And it's not just these two either that have this problem. Melina in this movie is wearing all black. I can't even tell if she's got even a hint of purple. And her face isn't grotesque enough. It's just slightly monster looking with the teeth and has a bunch of dry blood around her mouth and her face. And that's it. Also, they fucking killed Melina without even introducing Kitana at all. They don't even reference Kitana at any point in this movie. Or the fact that Melina's half Tarkatan, or is a half Tarkatan clone of Kitana. None of that is addressed. So I guess they're gonna have to fuck with Kitana's character hard if we do get a sequel. And Melina in this movie is basically reduced to an evil henchman, which is fucking lame because, again, she's a pretty popular character. People like Melina. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So after Cole loses, Jax shows up and sees that Cole has the dragon mark, meaning he's been chosen for the tournament. Shang Tsung sends Sub-Zero to kill Cole, and this scene is really dumb. Rather than get close enough to hit Cole with like an ice blade and just insta-kill him, Sub-Zero appears all the way down the street and proceeds to hit the area with hail, giving everyone time to get to cover. Jax ends up rescuing Cole and his family, but stays behind to fight Sub-Zero. Yeah, this doesn't go over well. And if you're a fan of the games, you can probably figure out what happens. Cole finds Sonya Blade and she dumps exposition about the mark, and that if you kill someone who has the mark then transfers to you. That's how Jax got it. Sonya doesn't have one. Then we get introduced to the best character, Kano. I fucking love this crazy Aussie. Kano has the mark because he killed another mark person. They don't say who it was though, and they also tease Nightwolf for a sequel. But then Shang Tsung sends, I don't know if this is supposed to be Reptile or like a member of his species, because they don't call him Reptile, but they, like, Shang Tsung send in the reptilian something, like I guess the species name, I can't remember. I don't feel like going back in the movie and looking it up, but either way, something reptile-like that has his powers shows up. This fight is kind of cool, actually. Unfortunately, though, Reptile isn't a reptilian ninja like he is in the games. He's just a straight-up lizard monster. He doesn't even speak or even give an indication that he can speak. It's a pretty short fight, but they do have a neat idea of having him be invisible, and the way they are able to see him while he's invisible is Kano ends up stabbing him and sticks a flare onto him. Kano does end up ripping his heart out, which is kind of fun, but I'm really hoping that wasn't actually Reptile, because that's a fucking waste of his character, to be honest. I also just remembered Sonya doesn't even bother looking for Jax. Like, Cole tells him that he stayed behind, and Sonya just says that he never checked in, I can't reach him. But there's never a discussion of should we go looking for him? Because I imagine Jack's some kind of like tracker, she can track his communicator or something. I mean, come on, they just assume that the man is dead. They don't even go confirm it. Yeah, that was weird. And Sonya and Jax are ex-military in this by the sounds of things. So I guess they're not a member of Special Forces, and I don't even think there even is like the Mortal Kombat version of Special Forces in this. So if you're expecting that, yeah, that's not here either. Yeah. Anyways, thanks to Kano, they find Raiden's temple and find Liu Kang. By the way, at this point, we are 40 fucking minutes into a 1 hour and 50-minute movie, and arguably one of the most important characters, one that a lot of people would consider the protagonist of Mortal Kombat, just showed up, and then we see Raiden. Quick question. Why did Raiden not show up and collect his champions himself? Why wait for them to find him, especially when you know you don't have a lot of time before the tournament, and Shang Tsung might be hunting them? Yeah, that's pretty dumb. Oh, that's not the dumbest thing related to Raiden, by the way. Raiden proceeds to chastise Cole and Kano for not having their powers because the marks gave you power now instead of you just having the ability, like in the games or whatever. I gotta ask, Raiden, how is it their fault they don't have powers yet when they don't even know they didn't even know about the marks in the first place? You've done fuck all this point to help them, to help them learn their powers. And it's not like they were born marked, at least not Kano. Cole is, and we get an answer as to why later. This is where the movie really takes a nosedive. They spend a long time training. Oh, and Jax is here too. And instead of getting his arms from like the Special Forces people, the monks just made him replacement arms. And holy shit, these effects look terrible. You're not kidding. Also, Liu Kang's fire effects range from decent to absolutely horrible. And apparently Liu Kang and the monks were trying to find the champions, but were too late. And arrived after Jack lost his arms and then brought him here before everyone else got there. We're gonna see why that doesn't make sense later. They do try to give Sonya and Jax a moment where Jax is upset over the lost arms and feels weaker with them. And he has a slight breakdown, and Sonya gives him a pep talk, which I thought that was nice. Also, Shang Tsung shows up and his fighters appear at Raiden's temple, and here we get introduced to Kung Lao. I think he, Liu Kang, and Cabal are probably the truest to the source material in terms of appearance. Anyways, Raiden raises a barrier around the place to prevent Shang Tsung from killing everyone before the tournament, and they just fuck off. Now we're just thrown into, characters training, and Cole just keeps getting his ass beat and doesn't get his powers, and Kano gets his eye laser. But it's not because he gets a bionic eye, it's just a power he has for some reason. Because fuck the source material again. That aside, the scene where he's roasting Liu Kang and Kung Lao, they both roast him back. He gets pissed and activates his power is pretty good. Yeah, credit where credit's due, that was pretty funny. Cole feels like shit, and Raiden feels that he's a Hasashi, and that's why Cole was born with the mark. Because apparently his ancestors were just always chosen. Or that's the implication anyway. Raiden took the baby from the and I don't know if he raised her or just took her somewhere, because they show him bringing her into a temple, so it's implied that she was raised with the monks or something. But this just raises even more questions for me, because why didn't Raiden take Cole when he was a baby and have him train with the monks? Cole says he doesn't know his parents and that he was an orphan, and it's implied that he was like a street orphan, I think. So it's not like Raiden could use the taking you from your family would have been wrong angle or something like that. Or better yet, why couldn't he have one of the monks just adopt Cole and just train him, outside the temple or something? That would have made a lot more sense. Yeah, Raiden is a dick in this movie. He's a straight up dickhead. He just proceeds to tell Cole to get the fuck out because he's useless without his powers. Cole leaves and goes back to his wife and daughter, despite knowing that Shang Tsung and crew are literally hunting for him and will try to kill him and kill anyone he's close to get to him. So he's putting them in danger. Is Cole retarded? Yeah, Jeff, not even you're that stupid. Cabal also convinces Kano to switch sides, and he uses his eye laser to destroy the power source to lower the shield. And I have more questions. You mean to tell me Raiden isn't guarding this thing when he knows that if that goes down, his champions are fucked? He isn't here at all. I don't know where he is. When would he guard the gym? Because it's not like they established that he's doing anything else. There hasn't been a scene of him leaving or saying that I gotta consult the Elder Gods or something, so what gives? You had one job, Raiden. You had one fucking job, man. It gets worse. Shang Tsung shows up and brings the vampire chick Nitara from Deadly Alliance with him. I don't know anyone who likes Nitara, but that's kind of cool. And as you expect, the fight breaks out. At the same time, Cole's attacked by Goro. Everyone is getting their asses kicked. Melina almost kills Sonya, but then tastes her blood and realizes she isn't a champion, so she doesn't kill her. Kano decides to throw her onto a piece of rock and then destroys a statue and has that fall on her. and this somehow doesn't kill her, even though it looks like the statue would have crushed her, but plot armor. Oh, and Reiko is here. I almost forgot he was in this movie. I don't think he gets a damn line. I mean, Reiko is already kind of a meh character. I don't know anyone who likes Reiko, but he's just reduced to a big, angry, strong guy with a hammer. Like, he just yells and beats up Jax and just takes him out of the fight. And the only highlight of this section is Kung Lao shoves Nitara into his hat and dices her in half like a fatality from the game, and even says flawless victory. And again, it's let down by the subpar CGI. Meanwhile, Cole is getting his ass beat, and then Goro gets distracted because Cole's wife hits him with an axe. So he goes after them, and then Cole gets his powers because, you know, his power is he gets this like golden chest armor that absorbs energy from his opponent's attacks and redirects them into his own to like power them up. It's pretty generic, honestly, but I will give them points for using an orchestrated version of the Mortal Kombat theme from the 90s film here. They used this several times throughout the film and they used their points. That mostly makes sense. There is one point where it's like, I don't get why you used it there. But yeah, it's alright. You forgot that Cole can make bladed tonfas too and use them, and he uses them to kill Goro? Oh, you heard Todd correctly. Goro's fucking dead. In the first movie, like, I think he only has like 2 scenes in his entire thing. He doesn't go down fighting Liu Kang or Kung Lao or Jax or any of the characters you actually want to see him fight. He doesn't even interact with them, not even like trash talk or anything. They did my boy dirty. That's all I'm gonna say, they did my boy dirty. Get used to that. That's not the worst of it either. Raiden then teleports Cole into a temple, and then Shang Tsung snatches Kung Lao by the throat, and it just starts devouring his soul in front of everybody. No one tries to stop this. Raiden really just sits there and doesn't zap Shang Tsung or do anything. And everyone else can kind of get a pass because they're fighting, but not Cole. Cole literally just got teleported there, isn't fighting anyone. And he only intervenes to stop Liu Kang when Liu Kang tries to save him right as it's too late. So now Kung Lao is dead. What the actual fuck? Yeah, so another one of the core characters is dead. Liu Kang's rival is dead. They didn't even get really a chance to have like a serious rivalry between them. Even like a fun way. So that's just a waste of a character. But after this, Raiden ends up teleporting everyone to safety. And I have to ask, why the fuck couldn't he just do that already? Or just bring them there in the first place instead of wasting 40 plus minutes of them getting to the temple? Or just get them the fuck out of there when Shang showed up and the shield was down. Like, what was he doing? That bugs me too. And I noticed that no one really gets pissed at him for doing that. Yeah, Raiden really could have made this movie a hell of a lot easier for our main characters if he just got off his ass. But Cole asks Raiden if he can just teleport anyone. Turns out he can, including Shang Tsung's minions. So the plan is to use Raiden to teleport Shang's minions to places so the champions can fight them one-on-one. Raiden also gives Cole Hanzo's kunai that still has his blood on it, and I guess it's preserved through magic, and tells him to use it to contact Hanzo, as Hanzo has been in hell this whole time and is seeking revenge. And they've been teasing Scorpion this entire film, like with little jump cuts to him in hell, I guess, throughout this film. We forgot to mention that Jax's arms transformed and now they look like the arms from the game, and he uses them to save Sonya from the statue. Yeah, I forgot about that, you're right. Now we get to the fights. Just guess what I'm gonna say. You can tell by the tone of my voice, these are let down. They are over with so quickly too. Liu Kang does get a cool moment where he bicycle kicks Cabal into a pit of sludge, then an orchestrated version of the original theme starts playing again, and Liu Kang creates a fire dragon and burns Cabal with it. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was, but the fight overall was just like, it was like blinking you miss it. Yeah, so Cabal is dead. Sonya kills Kano in a pretty boring fight in like the her little hideout or whatever. Like she's like turning all the lights on, like sneaking around, punching him and hiding and avoiding the laser. I mean, the credit where credit is due. She does fight him in a smart way, but it's just so boring. Like it doesn't feel unique. And she kills Kano and gets his mark. So Kano is out. Didn't even get the bionic eye or anything, or do that weird like flip shit he does in the games. You don't get that either. Jax and Reiko duke it out, and it's over within like 5 seconds, really. Reiko is no threat to Jax at this point. And Jax's finisher would have been brutal if it just didn't look so damn fake. He didn't even get to do the ground pound attack or grab Reiko and go gotcha and then punch him or anything. I know. Then Melina roars and her face transforms, showing more of a monster face that looks slightly closer to the game. It's still not enough in my opinion. The teeth feel too toned down, I guess. She attacks Cole, does not get the upper hand at all. Like, all that happens is she tries to bite him, and Cole just wedges one of the Tonfa in there. Then Sonya shows up and kills her with the energy pulse she has from the video games, except now it's just a straight up power instead of being from a gadget. So Mileena is now dead, so we can't do Kitana's story like how it would be in the game, which made a lot of sense, where she, realizes Shao Kahn is a piece of shit. Oh, and, is horrified at the fact that Mileena is a hybrid clone of her and is effectively her replacement. So Kitana's story is probably going to be way less compelling. Thanks, movie. Yep. Then, because Sub-Zero really is the final boss of this movie for some reason, Sub-Zero steals Cole's family, then taunts Cole, and Cole follows him into a portal alone instead of waiting by Liu Kang or Sonya to go with him or anything. Surprise, surprise, Sub-Zero beats the shit out of him, and then Cole tries to stab him with the kunai, but it doesn't work. And instead, Sub-Zero tries to stab him with it, but Cole's Hasashi blood gets on it, and he ends up freeing Scorpion from hell. I wish I could show this clip, because Scorpion's intro is badass as hell. Like, if anyone was invested in this movie, at this point they probably would be cheering or probably would have gone, oh shit. Because it is an oh shit moment.
Get over here!
And this is like the best part of the movie, and unfortunately, we had to sit through an hour and like 40 something minutes to get here. And it still gets a little bit ruined because, again, Cole is here. There's a point where Cole and Scorpion tag team Sub-Zero, when it really just should have been Sub-Zero and Scorpion fighting, and just Cole should have just been out of the movie for this. Like, should have just taken a backseat, just go break out the Lazy Boy or some shit. I'm a little bit mixed on Scorpion's look, to be honest. The colors on his armor, to me, are a little too muted, but he still looks cool. He just doesn't look that undead to me. Like, they give him like these weird like discolored eyes, but they're not the dead white eyes he has in the games. Also, the face on the mask isn't like a skull, or like you can't see like his rotted jaw, anything like in the games. That's probably because skulls are a no-go in China, and let's be honest, most films nowadays are made to get that China money. Seriously, you can't have skulls? Yeah, that's why Taskmaster's face isn't a skull in Black Widow either. That's fucking lame. Yep. He does show sort of a skull face thing at the end where he breathes fire on Sub-Zero to kill him, which was kind of awesome, and like I said, the fight is really good. After that, he tells Cole that he's been freed and he vanishes, so I guess Scorpion is at peace now? I don't really like how they handled him here. They make Scorpion a tragic hero when he's more of a tragic villain or an anti-hero. There's also no mention of Quan Chi here, so I guess Scorpion isn't Quan Chi's servant at all or anything like that. Instead of saying that he's in the Netherrealm, they just say Hell, and I don't know if the Netherrealm and Hell are supposed to be the same or not. It just feels like a missed opportunity considering Scorpion is the face of Mortal Kombat and is usually on the cover of the games. I mean, he's on the damn posters for this movie alongside Sub-Zero, so they knew that that was the draw of the movie. I don't feel like they can use him again for a sequel without undoing everything they established in this movie, so I don't really see where his character can go. So I guess Scorpion's just gonna be a one and done thing, and that's really a shame. Considering he probably has, at the most, I want to be generous, probably about 15 minutes of screen time. Off the top of my head, don't call me that, I didn't time it or anything. That being said, for what it's worth, what he's in, he's really fucking cool. Yeah, the movie ends with Shang Tsung being yeeted back to Outworld by Raiden after threatening them, saying he's gonna come with an army next time, or that he's just got more warriors lined up. And then Raiden tells everyone he is selecting new champions because of that. And again, I have to ask Raiden, why don't you just appear and grab these new champions instead of having the other champions go find them, putting them at risk? Because, Shang Tsung would just teleport someone in there and kill them. I still don't fucking get that. And they say that he can't interfere too much, but they never establish what he can and can't do. So it ends up feeling inconsistent. I said that right, didn't I, Todd? Yeah, you did. Sweet. Like, the final act of this movie, though, wouldn't have happened if Raiden didn't teleport everyone around during these fights. Like, there's no clear limit on what he can and can't do. And that's a problem. Yeah, but guess who Cole has to get? Johnny Cage. The movie ends with him saying he's going to Hollywood and looking for someone, and it pans over to a Johnny Cage like movie poster, and it doesn't show like what Johnny Cage looks like, it just shows him from like the waist down with a belt saying Cage on it, and that's how the movie ends. Don't get me wrong, I like Johnny Cage, but is he really an end movie stinger level character? I would think Shao Kahn would be that. And they do kind of tease Shao Kahn. They show him on like a tapestry, and then there's a statue of him in one of the arenas where one of the final fights takes place. Let's be fucking real. Johnny Cage should have been in the movie as the new guy being introduced to all this shit. Just to recap the body count here so you can see why this movie kind of fucks itself up for sequels. Kano, Subzero, Kung Lao, Reiko, Nitara, Melina, and Cabal are dead, and we can put Reptile in a maybe category, because I'm not sure if that character is supposed to be Reptile or just a member of his species. And just to be clear, for a movie called Mortal Kombat, there is no Mortal Kombat tournament in this movie. The tournament technically hasn't happened yet, and you've already killed off all of these characters. Like, you've already killed a lot of the fan favorite characters, and there hasn't been a tournament yet. Where do you go from here? How do you fuck up this badly? Something else that bothers me is that Subzero goes on about the Lin Kuei, and like one of his lines that he repeats is for the Lin Kuei, but they're not in the movie. Like, outside of the opening part where Scorpion butchers them all, there's no Lin Kuei at all. They don't even show up as like generic henchmen to hunt anyone down or anything. Are they gonna do the thing where they introduce his brother and his brother becomes a new Sub-Zero? Because that's not gonna make any sense, since this Sub-Zero is like at least 100 years old by now, and is probably undead, so it would have to be some kind of descendant or something. So they've already messed themselves up there. This was a mess. Yeah, you're not wrong, but I think we've ran it long enough. Let's wrap this shit up. I'm gonna be honest, just from what I remember from it, because I haven't seen this movie in a long ass time, I think the 90s one might have actually been the better movie, might actually be the better movie. Because this movie is so boring. I had more fun writing and recording this than watching the movie itself. The only good parts, and I've said it probably like 5 times already, are the Scorpion and Sub-Zero moments, and Kano, because Kano's entertaining. But you have to sit through a fucking mediocre slog just to get there. Yeah, I don't think I can recommend this movie. If you're a fan of the games, you will be sorely disappointed and probably mad at how they handled the source material and just the disappointing gore effects. And if you're not and you just want to watch a fun martial arts movie, this isn't really going to do that for you either, because it's really boring up until the fight at the end. If you want a good martial arts film, I would just go watch the Raid films. Yeah, this is not good, y'all. Like, okay, if I rank this on video game movies, the fucking Resident Evil movies are better than this shit. Because at least those are entertaining. They can get a pass because they're entertaining. They're dumb as hell, and they don't follow source material, but they at least have fun with it. So I can give them a slight pass. I could have given this movie a pass for butchering source material if it was fun, but it isn't. This just feels really generic. It doesn't even feel like Mortal Kombat in a lot of places, despite how hard it tries by throwing in little orchestral versions of the original 90s theme, or having characters say flawless victory or finish him or fatality, or even outright referencing some fatalities from the games, or adapting them, I should say, because they're not one-to-one. It doesn't feel like a Mortal Kombat movie. Maybe they can turn this around in the sequel, but given how they have to base the sequel off of this shit, it's probably not going to be that good. Yeah, no. I don't like giving movies like number scores, because I think it's just kind of dumb. But like, if you had to give this number score, what would y'all give it? Out of 10? Probably like a 5. 4.5. And the only reason it didn't get lower is because the highlights we've mentioned before. If you took that stuff out of the movie, like it didn't have that, or that stuff was like not as good, it would be like a 2. Yeah, I think I might agree with Tide and give it like a 5. It ain't the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's not good. It's not even in the guilty pleasure category. Like, it's not even one of those films that you know is bad, but it's still kind of entertaining or enjoyable. It's just boring. Yeah, and that is the worst thing your movie can be. It's boring. Even a bad movie can at least be slightly redeemable because it's entertaining, or because you could enjoy watching it despite how bad it is. You can't even do that. All right, that's the end of the review. Let me know what you guys think. Well, you're probably gonna let me know what you think in the comments. And let me know if you guys want me to do more of these. I wish I could have gotten footage, but again, HBO Max is smart and it knows when you have screen capture on if you try to take a screenshot. So I gotta work with what I got here. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you want to see more of these. There's more movies I can talk about. There's one that I actually really want to talk about before, but I just didn't have time to do it. So I might do that. And yeah, see you later.